You've almost certainly seen them. The Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the most visible religious movements on the planet. But the story of the man who started it all, well, it's packed with controversy. In this explainer, we're diving into the source material that puts the life and teachings of their founder, Charles Taze Russell, right under the microscope. We see the Watchtower magazines, we know about the door-to-door ministry, but who was the guy who actually kicked this whole thing off? What's the real story behind the founder?
Well, that man was Charles Taze Russell. Back in the late 1800s, he started what was called the Bible Student Movement, and that's the group that would eventually grow into the Jehovah's Witnesses we know today. But as our sources show, the story of this founder is anything but simple.
All right, so the first major critique we're going to look at centers on Russell's claims as a prophet. And he wasn't being vague about it either. He set very, very specific dates for when he believed the world was going to end.
First up, Russell taught that Christ had already come back, invisibly, way back in 1874. Then he pointed to 1914 as the big one, the year of Armageddon. But when 1914 came and went without a fiery end, the date was just, it was moved to 1915. And after that didn't pan out, he set one last prediction for 1918. As we all know, none of these prophecies actually came true.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Critics point to a very specific biblical test for prophets, right there in the book of Deuteronomy. It basically says that if a prophet speaks in God's name, but the thing he predicts doesn't happen, then he's spoken presumptuously. And this is the exact standard they use to measure Russell's track record. But the critique doesn't end with just the failed prophecies. Nope. The sources also dig into how Russell's teachings broke away from some really core Christian doctrines. And, kind of ironically, how some of his own unique teachings were later changed by the very movement he created.
A perfect example of this is the identity of Jesus. Russell's view is that Jesus was not God. Instead, he taught that Jesus was a created being, specifically Michael the Archangel. Now that is in stark contrast to the historic Christian view, which, pointing to verses like John 1:1 and Hebrews 1, holds that Jesus is God and is actually worshipped by the angels.
And you could also see how doctrines changed inside the movement itself. So Russell originally taught that a big group of faithful people, the great crowd, would go to heaven. But later on, his successor introduced a pretty major change, something the organization calls New Light, and claimed that actually this group would live forever on a paradise earth instead. And then there's this one, which is just fascinating, pyramidology. Yeah, you heard that right. Russell was a huge believer that the Great Pyramid of Giza actually held the keys to understanding biblical prophecy. This was a core part of his teaching, but it's a belief the Watchtower Society has since completely dropped. Just gone.
All of this really makes you ask a question about authority. And there's a quote highlighted in the source material that gets right to the heart of it. Russell himself claimed that if you read his books, his scripture studies, without the Bible, you'd find the light. But if you read the Bible all by itself, that would lead you into darkness.
So we've looked at the prophecies and the doctrines, but beyond all that, the sources also put the founder himself under the microscope, raising some serious questions about his personal character and his credibility.
$60 a bushel. Now, in the early 1900s, that was an absolutely insane price for wheat. And this number, it's right at the center of a very public scandal that became known as miracle wheat.
So the sources zoom in on three big public incidents. First, there was a moment in a courtroom where Russell, who had claimed he knew how to read Greek, was forced to admit under oath that he didn't even know the Greek alphabet. Then came that whole miracle wheat scandal, which ended with him losing a lawsuit against a newspaper that called him out on it. And finally, there was a really public, really messy split from his wife, who leveled some serious accusations against him. Okay, so why does any of this old history really matter today? Well, according to the source material, it's because all of these things, the prophecies, the changing doctrines, the questions about his character, they all build a case against the very foundation of the organization's divine authority. And that's the core argument right there. It's pretty straightforward. If the founder's prophecies didn't come true, if his doctrines were always changing, and if his personal credibility was publicly challenged, well, the question becomes, how could he have been specially chosen by God to restore truth to the world?
So based on all this, the source lays out a sort of three-step strategy for having a discussion. First, use that test from Deuteronomy to talk about the prophecies. Second, question whether someone with Russell's documented history really fits the description of Christ's faithful slave. And third, contrast the Watchtower's constantly shifting doctrines with what the historical church has taught for centuries. So, when you put it all together, it leaves us with this one massive question. When the history of a faith's founder is so full of challenges, where does that leave the whole idea of authority? It really forces you to ask yourself, what is the ultimate source of spiritual truth? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.